Ecuador, and with Marcel and Andrea, and they're going to do a presentation. So don't hesitate. Any question you have, please ask them. So it's all yours.
Hello, Francois. Thank you very much for the introduction. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. I'm going to start sharing my screen so we can see the presentation there. I'm going to talk about Ecuador as a full destination. A lot of people know Ecuador because of the Galapagos Islands, but also there are parts of Ecuador that are at the coast, with the Pacific coast beaches, the Andes, and the Amazon rainforest. So we're going to have a deep dive into Ecuador. We call it the 360 tour because it covers the entire country. I'm just going to give a brief overview of what Latin Trails does. We're a DMC, a destination management company based in South America with offices throughout the region. We work on a business to business basis, working only with travel agents and operators. Have a little bit more than 20 years of experience. We actually started in 2002. All our itineraries are customized and are in private services. Exclusive experiences. So we focus on hands on people to people interaction. Our commitment is to excellence, and we have 24/7 assistance. This is through a concierge department that is there for our guests. While they're traveling with us, this is included in their services. Latin Trails is invested a lot in sustainability, having full solar panels for our office, carbon offsets in several of the trips, and selecting responsible suppliers. We call it participative tourism because our suppliers are engaged and we support the local communities we work with. So that's just a brief overview of who we are. This is our Ecuador 360 tour, as I mentioned. What's included in this type of tour? Well, all transfers from the airport, accommodations and double rooms, domestic flights within Ecuador, a bilingual naturalist and expert guide, visits and excursions according to the itinerary, all meals, including the meals on board the yacht. In this case, we're presenting an option with the Galapagos Seaman Journey. And throughout the tour and the land services, all breakfasts are included. We can add in or not other meals. Again, this is a sample itinerary, but we feel that this itinerary showcases all of Ecuador. So we'll go on with that. Now, what's not usually not included in a trip is soft drinks and alcoholic drinks, personal expenses, tips or gratuities, meals not described in the program, and items not described in the program. Now, what your voucher will look like once your travelers are ready to book, you have a day-by-day itinerary, the contact of the Latin Trails advisor that has worked with you. That same person that helps you build these itineraries will be the same person that is overviewing the tour and looking after your guests throughout the entire duration of the trip. Emergency and support contact numbers. Now, we have our both feet on the ground in Ecuador and in other countries in South America. So we will be here to support your travelers while they're visiting our destination. General recommendations in the voucher. Now, activities that are included in these types of trips. In the Andes, we have the series of trips that are called Six Senses that allow our guests to interact with locals. And amongst these experiences, you have with local interaction is making a local ice cream, the Toquilla straw hat experience where they learn to weave a straw hat. There's spa sessions, watercolor lessons, meeting artists in different areas, walking around the volcano, exploring the highlands, in the coast. We have throughout this trip, actually, you have the cacao mango tour where you learn to make chocolate from the bean to the bar. In the Galapagos, you have snorkeling, kayaking, hiking, cooking classes on board the yachts. There's the possibility of doing yoga, lessons, zodiac excursions, participating in citizen science. In the Amazon, going on a dugout canoe, hiking the trails, photography trips, observation towers. So these are really hands-on trips with a lot of activities. This is the Andes area of Ecuador. It's the backbone of the country, and here are some of the main locations we'll be visiting. Few pictures, as you can see, we have a photo of the different cultures, and we're going to start. This is how a trip in Ecuador would start. We arrive into Quito. The guides will be waiting for your travelers with our logo and with a sign with their name. Now, the arrival is at the Quito airport. It's about 40 minutes to the first hotel. Now, for this trip, we've selected the Ela Experience Hotel. It's in the Old Town. The transfer is about 45 minutes, as I mentioned. Then on the first day, we would explore the city, visiting the colonial downtown area, but also hands-on experiences with local suppliers, tasting local fruits, going to the markets. These are pictures of travelers that have been with us and travel agents that have been with us. We have one of the highest cable cars in the world on the Pichincha slope. So we actually explore that. We have a bird's eye view of the city. We visit the Panecillo Hill. And this is a overview of the hotel your guests would be staying on their first nights of the trip in the old town of Quito. Eagle Experience is a 10-room property. It belongs to our family, actually. So my wife is the general manager. So we're actually in contact with your guests at all time. It's a very personalized trip. It's a five-star hotel in the old town of Quito, but the real stars are our neighbors, where we offer local experiences like the Espumilla experiences. This is making a local dessert from Quito, or a watercolor lesson experience where you learn to, you actually interact with the local artist and you have watercolor lessons on the rooftop of the hotel. We're learning to make a straw hat, as I mentioned before. There's a spa. We also have gold leaf experiences, cooking classes, yoga lessons, and other activities. Now, we also support local talent around Ecuador. This is our Nest project where we invite people from the different communities to have a 6-month internship at Eagle Experience Hotel. And they learn with the chef to manage a luxury restaurant. And then they can bring this knowledge back to their communities and implement that in the community projects they have. So that's what you're supporting when you're traveling with us. Now, these are the first 2 days, so you have an immersion into Quito and in a part of the Andes. Then we'll go onwards to the Amazon and we'll go onwards to the Cotopaxi National Park. Here's an idea of the days 3 from 6. We'll have a workshop with a local artist as well. He'll show us how the Andes, the people of the Andes and the volcanoes have inspired his paintings, his watercolor paintings. This is one of the haciendas we would have on the trip, close to Cotopaxi National Park. As you can see from the amazing view you have directly from the place you're staying. There's horseback riding options and exploring the national park, easy hikes. We can also reach parts of the glacier as well if travelers are adapt to that. And as I mentioned, we have a workshop with one of the artists where we visit the workshop as well. Then onwards to the Amazon. For this trip, we were working with the Napo Wildlife Center. It's one of the top lodges in the Amazon of South America. And here are some of the experiences that we would have there. This is the lodge. It's right by an oxbow lake. The way you reach the lodge, and these are the accommodations. So as you can see, you have private facilities in each room. You have a glass floor in your cabin where you can see the lake below. And this is the arrival. We don't use motors to arrive into the lodge. We actually paddle our way in. So this is also part of the experience. Getting there is part of the trip. Activities you have are kayaking on the rivers or in the lakes, chocolate making experiences, bird watching trips, canopy tower observation, visiting parrot claylets, nighttime excursions on the canoe or in the rainforest, meeting the local Amazonian communities, observation hikes, bird watching, and other activities. Now we return to the Andes and we're going to continue onwards. We could visit the Quilotoa Lake. This is a crater lake. And this is a sunken crater that was a volcano that instead of exploding, it imploded. So we have this beautiful natural scenery, but also we get to meet the people that live in the nearby area, like the Tiwa artists. And they have a unique type of acrylic painting that they do on goat skin. And they'll show their art with us. We get to participate with them. This is one of the country lodges we would stay in, Abraspungo. It's an example. There is other options as well, but usually we stay at this place. It's nice, peaceful in the city of Riobamba, in the central part of the Andes. Very cozy place and authentic. Then the trip goes onwards toward the Chimborazo National Park. Here we have one of the highest peaks in the world, the Chimborazo Mountain. It's not an active volcano. It's the closest place to the sun on Earth. So if you measure from the center of the Earth and the bulk of the Earth, we're actually closer to the sun than if we were at the summit of Mount Everest by visiting this area. But it's an easy hike. We can go up to the refuge or we can hike in the areas around. And we also visit local communities. We interact with the La Moya community. We learn about their alpaca farming and how they live in this beautiful part of the Andes. Then we'll continue south towards the city of Cuenca. And of course, enjoying the views of the Chimborazo as we leave. And we visit Inca Pirca. These are the largest Inca ruins in Ecuador, but also where you have interaction with local communities and you can explore these beautiful areas. Here we have the different construction, and it's not just Inca ruins, it's Cañari ruins. Cañari were the people that were here before the Incas. So we get to learn about how both communities interacted, and they fused, and the Temple of the Moon and the Temple of the Sun came together at this unique location in the Andes of Ecuador. Then we reach Cuenca. In Cuenca, we have two options of staying. One of them is Mansión Alcázar. This is a beautiful boutique hotel in the old town of Cuenca. Cuenca is a city you can walk around for days, and we actually take you around a walking tour of the city. Very in-depth experiences with the straw hat weavers, with the different gastronomy that we have in Cuenca, visiting the different iconic buildings like the cathedral, but not just the cathedral, but walking along these streets that are covered in marble on the sidewalks and different, meeting different artists and artisans, different museums around the city. Another option for staying is Itza, a boutique hotel. Again, a small 15-room property in the old town of Cuenca. As you can see, we like to stay at small properties that have unique local character, but are also luxurious with fine dining and different activities. Then we go onwards towards the coast, where we'll depart towards the Galapagos. But on our way, well, the coast of Ecuador, here you'll have some of the best seafood, the views of the river in Guayaquil, the parks with the iguanas. But on the way from Cuenca to Guayaquil, we go to Cajas National Park. Here we have 200 bobsleds. We stop at a few of these lakes and we visit this unique natural setting with the scenery. We have microforests. So each patch here of páramo, as we call it in Spanish, has small plants, small trees, and they're miniature. So it makes it really unique. And these lakes actually supply the water to the city of Cuenca. So you have all this beautiful mountain scenery. And then on the way, we also visit a cacao plantation where we enjoy a lot of experiences there. The Iguana Park in Guayaquil, where actually the park is inhabited by these green iguanas and part of the urban setting of the city. So it's really local culture. And we stay in a beautiful restored cacao farm. So it's a plantation house and it's a five-star property there. Now we're going to go onwards to the Galapagos Islands. A 2.5 hour flight. Well, actually, it's a 2 hour flight from Guayaquil. We arrive at the island of Baltra. Now, for this trip, there's several options, but we've picked the 5 day cruise with the Seaman Journey, with unique activities where you have wildlife encounters, sea kayaking, gourmet cuisine. These are the connections, as I mentioned. 2.5 hours from Quito because you stop in Guayaquil, but then from Guayaquil, it's a 2 hour flight to the Galapagos. This is the itinerary that we're promoting for this trip and that we've actually added in this full program where you start in Baltra and then we'll go into the different islands that we'll be visiting. This is the yacht, the external lounge areas, the sun deck. It's a beautiful yacht and it has a hydroponic project that's attached to it. In the island of San Cristobal, we have our own plantation. We have farm to table food and we also avoid bringing in introduced species by having this project locally. So that's what you are getting as a plus of booking with this yacht. Kayaking is one of the adventures, hiking, snorkeling, cooking classes on board, zodiac excursions. Okay, you'll have amazing photography, but encounters with unique wildlife. The sun deck is a beautiful yoga platform, and we have a citizen science program. Our guests get to interact. We have a Happy Whale agreement where we take pictures of the whales, we upload them to the Happy Whale program, which is worldwide, and the scientific community will respond to us mentioning which whale we've identified and share that with our guests, and they get a feedback and credit for identifying the different whales. We also have a garbology program that has to do with ocean debris, where we clean it out, but we document it that way. Our travelers participate in conservation. And here's a little bit more about citizen science. If you'd like to scan it, I'm going to leave it there for a few seconds. I'm going to minimize this window so it doesn't get in the way. And you have a little bit more information there. But otherwise, we're happy to share this with you and send you more details about how we've implemented these programs and offering this unique interactivity. This is Karen, our first mate on board. We take pride in all our crew. They've been with us over 10 years, most of them. She's actually studying to be the first female captain in Galapagos. Now, what's included on board the cruise? Airport assistance, of course, transfers in Galapagos, accommodation in a double or suite or twin cabin, all meals during the cruise. A naturalist guide is with guests at all times. All the visits and excursions are included. Snorkeling gear, sea kayaks, unlimited water, the coffee and tea, and of course, juices after every excursion and with breakfast. Now, what's not included? Well, the round trip flight back and forth to the Galapagos Park entrance fee, which is $200 per person, the transit card. Now, we can actually have these prepaid for your client. So we can actually add it to the program if you like. Tips, local taxes. Well, actually, taxes for the cruise are all included. When we say local taxes, it's when shopping taxes or if you have consumptions at the bar, and that would not be included. Travel insurance, meal and services not on board. Actually, you have all meals included on board the yacht. But if you go into town and in Galapagos or you extend and you want additional meals there, that's not going to be included. Alcoholic drinks, of course, and extras in the Wi-Fi. There's a small fee for that. Now, premium sites that you visit on this trip. As I mentioned, it's a 5-day cruise. We would visit Bartolome Island, where we have the possibility of spotting penguins in this beautiful half moon bay. There is also iguanas, snorkeling with sea lions, sea turtles. Genovesa Island, which is known for being the home of the red-footed booby, but not only that, but the cliffs where you have thousands of seabirds, great snorkeling within Darwin Bay as well. Uh, North Seymour Island and South Plazas Island. This is a great area for watching the dances of the blue-footed booby. Again, South Plazas Island with the land iguanas. Santa Fe, you have land iguanas, you have sea lions, a beautiful bay for snorkeling with sea lions. And then we visit an interpretation center. We make sure that all our itineraries have the possibility of spotting the giant tortoises. So all these and other wildlife will be spotted on this trip. We can share checklists where you have a different list of wildlife. Now, there is another option of the itinerary with a 5-day program that would be with the Southern Islands. And here we would have the interpretation center when we would start. And then we would visit Española, where it's the only nesting site in the world for the waved albatros. There's also marine iguanas, Nazca boobies, and other wildlife. You have the beautiful Gardner Bay, one of the most beautiful beaches in the world for wildlife sightings. Punta Pete, where you have the 3 types of boobies, blue-footed, red-footed, and masked boobies in the same location. Lobos Island, of course, here we have Leo, the famous sea lion that's being a show, giving a show on Disney Channel now. Cormorant Point on Floriana Island, with the Flamingo Lagoon and the Post Office Bay, where you actually, this is a unique experience where you put in your postcards and another traveler from around the world will actually deliver them back to you. And you'll do the same. It's a reciprocal thing, and it's actually a lot of fun because I've gotten several postcards delivered to me by neighbors actually that have gone on a subsequent Galapagos trip after mine. And then, of course, the breeding center for giant tortoises and additional options. We do have the option of having a 6-night, 7-day cruise in the Galapagos around the western side, and of course other boats as well. But highlights on this trip are Fernandina Island or Isabella Island, and then the activities, as we mentioned, excursions on lava fields, walks on beaches with sea lions, watching the blue-footed boobies do their mating dance, finding the nesting sites for the waved albatross, other cruise options. Just recently launched the Hermes catamaran. This is a 20-passenger catamaran, ultra luxury, with private balconies in each cabin, hammam style spa, beautiful social areas, and other itineraries. So itineraries on the Hermes start at 3 nights, 4 days. You have a 4-night, 5-day, and a 6-night, 7-day as well. So there's different options. Now, the Galapagos can be also explored by staying at one of the hotels on the islands. You have Isabela, Santa Cruz, and San Cristobal Island with main hotels. So guests could stay there if they don't want to take a cruise. We can do a hotel-based stay with day trips. And here you have Santa Cruz Island, some of the visitor sites, the Charles Darwin Station, visiting North. This is Tortuga Bay. You also visit North Seymour, Bartolome Island. You have beautiful lodges like Picaya Lodge, which is a luxury lodge. Montemar, this is in the highlands of Santa Cruz. We have a tortoise sanctuary attached to the property, or staying in town. Icala Hotel on Isabela Island, visiting Sierra Negra volcano, or yes, Tintoreras, which is a nursery for the small white-tip reef sharks. The Flamingo Lagoon, and beautiful hotels like Iguana Crossing. San Cristobal Island with its different beaches and Kicker Rock, a great place for snorkeling with hammerhead sharks. Here you have Espanol Island, Punta Pete, and Kicker Rock as day excursions from San Cristobal. So, and this is Hotel Indigo right in front of us. It's a beachfront property. And activities, of course, excursions, zodiac rides, scuba diving, snorkeling. Now that's the difference. So you can do scuba diving on a hotel-based trip as well. So again, loads of activities, excursion on lava fields, kayaking, and of course, the star of the show, Leo. That's a little bit about us. We have real-time availability for the cruises in Galapagos, so we can mix and match this itinerary with different cruises in the Galapagos. We have a partner section, we have the training area. We have recordings of this and other webinars, in-depth dives into the Amazon, the different options there, the different options in the Andes, We can also build a website for you and have your logo and your information with all our trips there. So that way you would be able to promote that as a landing page for your clients as well. So we're happy to offer all these. Now, in our partner section, we also have online availability for all the yachts in Galapagos and information and photos you can share on social media. So that's a little bit about our presentation today. I hope you've enjoyed it. It gives you an idea of how we can explore Ecuador, the different maps and the different areas that we would be exploring on this 360 trip. And of course, it can be customized, made a little bit shorter, and we could include other areas of the Amazon or the Andes as well. Happy to answer any questions. Please let me know if there's anything I didn't cover and that you'd like to hear about.
Marcel, could you tell us when is the best time to go there?
Wow, that's that's great because Ecuador is not a seasonal destination.
Okay.
You can go year round,
Ah, okay.
365 days a year because we really don't have a much seasonality. We're at the equator line, so the weather's pretty much the same year round, and there's slight variations. So, for example, in the Galapagos Islands, it gets a little bit warmer January through June, and then it's fresh from July through December. But what does this mean in terms of temperature? Well, we're talking about temperatures, in centigrade. January through June, you would be talking about an average temperature around 25 degrees centigrade, about in the 70s, 80s Fahrenheit. And then again, that's actually June. I'm sorry, July through December. Then January through June, it's a little bit warmer. You'd have the temperatures. Well, in the Andes are going to be around I would say 18 degrees centigrade, around 68, 70 degrees Fahrenheit, different depending on the time of day. And in the Galapagos, a little bit warmer. You have about 30 degrees centigrade, which is pretty warm, and the upper 80s in Fahrenheit throughout
Okay.
that time, just as an idea, and depending
Okay.
on the
Yeah.
region.
No, if you want to have a good knowledge of Ecuador and if you want to visit as much as possible, what would be the length of the tour? I mean, are we talking about 14 days or just Ecuador, not Galapagos?
Ecuador, I would say that you spend at least 8 days in Ecuador alone,
Okay.
not just Galapagos, because that way you can, for example, the program portrayed here is a 10 days in Ecuador, and then it's a 5 day in the Galapagos Islands. So it's a 15
Okay.
day program altogether.
Okay.
That way you get a chance to visit, the Amazon and the Andes. That would give you a really beautiful overview of the country. If you
Okay.
wanted to stay a little bit longer, we could add in the local markets, the cloud forest, and other areas, and we could easily prepare a 15-day program for you. Or we can shorten it a little bit, with other options in the Amazon. There is the option of, Napa Wildlife Center here is a 4 day program. We have options with lodges that you can drive in from, of course, with a guide and a driver from Quito that are only 3.5 hours away, and you're already in the Amazon. And these are hotel-based programs that in the Amazon that start at 3 days or even 2 days in the Amazon. A very quick visit. I would say not less than 3 days, but you can do it shorter. And a beautiful lodge that's actually pictured here on the right hand side is Hakuna Matata. This belongs to us, actually. Full disclosure, it's a reforested area. It's a secondary growth forest that we rescued from being in the past the cattle farm. Now there's 2 lodges on the property, and we can also offer that to clients that are traveling around Ecuador with a lot
Okay.
of cultural interaction.
What is the minimum of people you can work with, and what is the maximum?
Well, our programs can start with one guest. If you're a
Okay.
solo traveler, we can set up a program for you as well. I mean, we have those programs. And then maximum, well, I mean, we're comfortable working even with large groups and incentives. We have done groups of 100, 200 people around Ecuador. We split them up in smaller groups, and we were able to organize the trips around in that sense. So I would say the maximum would be 200. Of course, the average groups that we work with are smaller families, 16 people,
Okay.
8 people
Okay.
on a regular basis.
And really from Canada or US, we have to arrive in Quito. That's the major international airport, isn't it?
Yes, Quito is the main international airport. You have direct flights to Quito from New York with Avianca.
Okay.
and it's a flight arrives in the morning, so you can win a day on that one. Then you have flights connecting. You're going to have a direct flight from Philadelphia with JetBlue. That's a new route that's opening up.
No, okay.
We have direct flights from Miami. We have
Okay.
direct flights from Houston. Now you also can connect through Panama with Copa. Copa has a direct flight from Panama, and I'm sure there's pretty good connections from Canada, all around Canada to
Yeah.
Panama with Copa. So
Yeah.
that's
Yes.
another
Okay.
option.
Yeah. Okay. And well, people, if you have any question, it's time to ask your question. Please use the question and answer box. And please feel free to ask your question. Okay, that's answer all the major question. Anything else you want to add up or in your presentation, Marcelo?
Well, yeah, no, that first of all, I want to thank you, Francois, for having us
You're welcome.
here. I want to thank everyone for attending. Now, travel agents and operators, we're here to help you with your bookings. As I said, we'll pair you up with a travel advisor that will help you put together a perfect itinerary for your clients. When it comes to payments, we do have a U.S. bank account, and you can transfer the funds there or send us a check if you're an operator and you've taken your client's payment. But if you're a travel agent, we can also send you a secure link. You can pay with your clients can pay with their credit card, and we'll mail you your commission. So that's how we work, and we're here to help and support. And again, not just Ecuador, but Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, Bolivia, Chile, Argentina, and now we represent a couple ships in Antarctica that we're happy to help you with. So feel free to reach out, and we're here to assist.